You let them in?
Yeah, I just did.
Great,
Yeah.
thank you. Hi, guys.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
Hey.
Hi.
Hey, I have my mom's name, Andrea Johnson, but I'm Lance.
Oh,
I
yeah.
don't-
You know what, Lance?
Hi,
I think
Lance.
You
I'm
can
gonna-
rename yourself.
I'm going to do it
Lance.
right now for you. There you
Oh,
go.
you can rename?
Yeah.
Yeah. But
Oh,
Sandra will do it for you. She just did actually.
Thank
Yeah, but you can, just so you know in the future.
Cool. Who else we have?
Lance.
Chase. Okay, yeah. I see Chase on there.
And Chase.
No problem, Chase.
So it's a little chilly out, everybody. I heard you guys talking about that a little earlier.
Yeah, I like it.
All right. So you like it?
I do. I like when it's like this.
Yeah.
Oh, when
it's
it's-
fine.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Is this
You know,
Cleveland weather, Judy?
Yeah.
Cleveland weather.
The Cleveland day. I like it.
Yeah. Oh,
So
man.
Lance and Chase, are you ready for a private class?
I know,
Don't
right?
get scared. Ryan would have gone up already.
No, Lance will be on soon, and Jaden checked in earlier, so hopefully he'll be joining us as well. So I'm gonna reach back out to him.
I'm going to look really
You
quick.
want to give it a couple more minutes, or?
Yeah.
Probably should
Okay.
give a couple, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Get some music going.
Yeah.
Like that music when you're waiting, you know? Waiting.
We'd probably scare them away with the music that we would listen to, but
Oh, yeah.
I go.
I'm just sending out a quick email to make sure.
Everybody got it, that everybody's on the same page. Savannah's in.
Savannah.
Hmm.
Hi, Savannah.
Hi.
Savannah, your colors are very midpoint.
Yeah,
Yes.
right.
Looks good. Thank you.
It's so interesting. With these ear things in, you can hear all the details in the background of people's noise. Right in there.
Right.
I'm trying to find good lighting in my house.
Oh, hi, Savannah. Hi.
There's
Sandra, did you send text to?
yeah, I to Jamie
Great.
and Ashley and Simone. Now I'm gonna mute myself and call really quick.
Whose dog is that?
That was my neighbor's dog, actually, in the backyard.
Jeez. It's just like he's sitting right
Yeah.
next to you.
I know they're not that close either, but it's a little tiny thing. And every time they let him out, he just is like, "Burp, burp."
Let everybody know he's around.
I know. And here I have two of them, and they're not even,
We don't even say
they don't
nothing.
really bother him. I think they kind of know, he's little, just let him bark.
He's little. Let him
But
do his thing.
I'm facing my bedroom window, or my bedroom just has windows on one side, and so the windows are open, and it just kind of
Oh,
opens
I see.
kind of at
Okay.
at an angle is part of their backyard.
Yeah. Oh, that's funny.
Yeah. But see, he's done. I think he's finished with his.
He's done.
Yeah, that's it.
Watch him yap again.
I know.
Sandra, do you want me to call anybody?
Dylan is a few minutes late and I'm waiting. I just texted Rachel and Rachel Winter and
We have one of our girls who is in Israel right now who went on a exchange program, and her dad just texted me because she's in a bomb shelter. So it's just been so interesting. Yeah.
Oh my
She
gosh.
was one of the few kids who, there was a group from the United States that got to go during COVID, and she was one of them. And the parents just had no idea that this was going to happen. And so I just wanted to let her know that we're thinking of her, and I can't even imagine how scary that must be.
Wow, man. Oh, boy.
they said 5 times this week she was in a shelter.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. In and out.
Wow. That's wow.
Yeah, can't even imagine.
Yeah, that is scary. That's very scary.
So Ty, who else are we waiting for? Hi, Chase. Can see you now.
Hello.
Hi,
We have Chase, we have
Lance and Savannah.
So 1, 2, 3.
You have 3 so far. Or
One.
there's somebody else.
We're waiting for our 2 girls, Simone, right? Just see.
Yeah. Simone, Ashley, and Dylan is going to be here shortly.
Okay.
Sorry, everybody.
That's all right.
That's what happens on the cloudy day, I think.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Yeah.
Lance, are you there?
Yeah, I am.
I was just going to tell you, if you look in your little square that says your name, on the top of it, on the top of just your little square, there's 3 little dots. If you click on the 3 dots and look down, it says rename, and that's how you can rename.
Oh,
Isn't that cool?
So
yeah. Okay.
Just
I
wanted to
guess
show
we
you that.
could start. Don't you think we could start thinking like with our first questions? Because it's kind of fun and it's going to take a while for everybody. So Stephanie, do you want
Yes.
to get us started in the
Okay, can you see the PowerPoint?
Yeah.
Okay, so I think that just last time we were together, it was pretty incredible. But I thought if you'll go to the next slide, we could just take a look at all these questions, and it might be fun for us to think. You guys get a little extra time to think. You can choose any one of these. If you could be a vegetable, what vegetable would you be? Why? You know, if you could wake up tomorrow as an animal, take a look at all these different ones and think about what you connect with. If it's a candy bar or a historical fixture, but take one of these questions and you get to answer it as we start. So take a few minutes.
So I have 3 that I want to.
God bless you. Great. All right, you want to start with one?
You have 3 of them.
I have 3 of them that I want to do, but I have to choose right now. So, because I don't want to like be saying, oh, that's gonna take a while. Dang.
Out of
So it's either
those
between
3,
the
what do
movie. Yeah, it's either between the movie, The Time of Day, or the Live Anywhere on the Planet. So I think, and the animal one. Dang. Okay. I think I want to go with The Time of Day, but I'm like indecisive on that one because I don't really know which time of day, because I guess I'll do that one. So if I could be a time of day, I'd probably be, it's either between sunrise or sunset, but I think I would probably choose sunrise.
Sunrise?
For the
And
sole
why?
being, see, if it just stayed sunset for like ever, then it'll probably be sunset. But the only reason I wouldn't choose sunset, the only reason I wouldn't choose sunset is because right after it comes nighttime, and I don't like night, so
Oh, okay. Yeah, there you
it'll
go.
probably
has to
be it'll probably be sunrise.
Okay,
Sunrise.
and why?
Okay.
Why?
Because I'm a morning person. Like my mom always tells me whenever it comes up in a conversation about babies, or when it comes up about, when I asked her about me, how it was when I was a baby, she would say that right at the crack of dawn, I'll be up at like 6 in the morning, moving around in her belly, waking her up. And that's how I am now. Like I'm a morning person. So I mean, literally, like that's why I hate getting haircuts, because my dad always schedules them for early morning. And I'm like, well, you're ruining my Saturday morning now, because now I'm not like You know? So, yeah, probably sunrise.
Great. Okay. Who's next? Who wants to jump in? Okay, you get to pick someone, LJ. Lance, you want to pick somebody to go
Yeah,
next?
I do. Okay, I will choose, let's go with Savannah.
Okay.
Savannah's like, no.
I feel like it's always me. I think I'm gonna do the choose what time of day one. I would choose sunrise because I usually miss a lot of sunrises and they're always really pretty. And if it was that time, I'll be able to finally like see it because I haven't seen the sunrise in like 5 years. And that it kind of starts the day off so I can have more time of the day to play Red Dead Redemption 2.
Okay.
Mom. Can I choose my mom to go next?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Everybody's game here.
Put him on the hot seat. We like it.
Always.
Everybody's on the hot
She's
seat
gonna do it
here.
always. Anytime. Love you too. Okay.
Love you too.
I was thinking, gosh, I like so many too. I'm sorry, I wasn't as prepared. I think that if you could be in the movie of choice, what movie would you choose? What character would you play? Right now, at this moment, and it would probably be different in the hour or maybe tomorrow. But Kill Bill comes to mind. I know you guys, but I like the action. I like the action part and how I love how Uma Thurman like kicks butt in that. It is so fun. So I think I would do that right now. And
It could
I
change
will
tomorrow.
popcorn it. Huh?
It could change tomorrow. Is that what you're saying? Right
Yeah,
now,
for sure.
tomorrow you might be different, right?
Yeah. Moods, and vibes, energy. I'm gonna pick Brian.
Oh, yeah, of course. I shouldn't have said nothing. Yeah, I would pick because I like to travel, and that's kind of what I want to do again once this pandemic is done. But if you could live anywhere on this planet and take everything you love with you, where would you choose to live? Well, I've been to Bali, Indonesia, and I love that place. So I like it because the people are nice there. It's beautiful there. What's that?
Oh, wait.
Oh. And so if I were to bring anybody to that particular place where I want to go, that would be it. I just think that place is great on all fronts, and the people are nice and very spiritual place. And yeah, so that's what I'll pick.
Wait, where'd you choose, Brian? I'm sorry, I didn't hear where.
Bali, Indonesia.
Oh, Bali. Oh gosh, my dad wants to go there too. Oh my God, that's amazing.
I love that place. I extended my stay there. So yeah,
So you've been there.
I've been.
Ooh,
that's where I want to go.
nice.
I want to go again.
Nice. Got it.
Yeah. So all right. So let me see. Who do I pick? Chase, you're up, buddy.
For me, if I could be an animal, I'd probably be a cheetah because they're speedy, strategic, and smart.
Oh,
Nice.
yeah,
Nice.
I like it.
All right. Thought
Great
that out.
answer.
Great answer.
He was prepared.
Oh, just hit the mom.
Oh, Cantor Rabbi Judy.
Oh, okay. So I think I'd like to be an animal also. And I think that it's a cat because they seem so independent and happy, and they sleep and then they get up and they're a young, like one that is more of a kitty because they're funny and they just do the unexpected things. So And they're affectionate, but they seem so wise. And so I just would like to know what it'd be like to be a kitty cat. So yeah, that's mine. I am going to popcorn to, all right, I know this isn't, well, I'll do Stephanie, and then girls who just popped on, and boys, we are taking one of those questions and we are going to answer it. So be ready, be prepared.
I think I would also do an animal, but I think I would want to be a bird, just to be able to fly, and then just to be able to fly, I think, and be able to go anywhere that I want. And maybe a bird in my backyard, because I feed like way too many birds in the backyard. So at least I know I would be guaranteed to be eating and have food and things like that. So. And I will send this over to Simone.
Savannah asked Stephanie what
I'm
kind
gonna
of
ask what
bird.
kind of bird.
Oh, what kind of bird? Oh, that's
Yeah,
tough. I mean, blue jays, I'm only thinking of birds in the backyard. There's we have tons of blue jays, and so they're big and they kind of like take over some of the littler birds. So they're always guaranteed food. But then also at my mom's house, there's been the highlight of the week has been 2 hawks have created this gigantic nest in one of the pine trees. And so it's fairly low to the ground, but it's beautiful just to kind of watch them. And you can see the babies in the nest, and there's like I'm assuming a mom hawk and a dad hawk, and just the noises that they make and the caring that they have for the babies. So I don't know, as much as I like the blue jays in the backyard, I might have to choose a hawk, because it's great to see that family dynamic with just this bird family up in this pine tree. So hawk, I guess.
I think you need to take some pictures of those little babies.
Oh, it's amazing. Yeah.
It is amazing when you
Absolutely
catch an
amazing.
animal.
Yeah. And the nest is huge. The nest is just like this big thing that wraps all the way around the trunk. It's like this round, like a condo. I mean, it's amazing what they've built. It's quite fascinating. Yeah.
Wow.
I love that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I was sending it over to Simone.
I would do, if you could choose to stay one age forever, what age would you choose and why? I probably pick 21, because then I'm pretty sure I'm the legal age to do most things. Maybe not like run for president or something, but the legal age to do like most things I'd want to do. So I feel like that would be just a good age to live. So yeah, that's my answer.
And you get to send it to
Oh, okay. Right. Someone else.
Ashley and Jaden are the ones who just, and Christy. Who else? That's, yeah.
Christy and Sandra haven't said it.
Sandra, yeah.
I'll send it to Ashley.
I'll choose if you could be a time of day, would you be sunrise, daylight, twilight, or night? I would be twilight, because I just think in general, like the sky is so pretty at twilight, and all the colors of the sky are it's at any other time except for sunrise, it's not really those colors. So I think it's the prettiest time of day. I just like it.
Yeah. You get to pick Jaden or Sandra or Christy.
Jaden?
I'm going to choose if I could wake up tomorrow as an animal. And I would probably be a house cat, because it just fits my style of living,
I have a kindred spirit here.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's right.
Jaden and I'd be lazing around the house.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, Jaden, you get to pick Sandra or Christy.
I'm going to go for Christy.
Okay.
Did you say Christy? Yeah. Okay. Well, I have been looking at this and thinking, and if I could live anywhere on the planet, it doesn't say I can't visit other places. So that's what made my decision is, if I could live anywhere on the planet and take everything and everybody I love, I think I would go to Montmartre in Paris. It's kind of the hill above Paris and live there because there's a lot to do. I would like to go to Bali as well, but I could go visit it and come back. So I like to live in Montmartre and then just travel around.
Yeah.
And since Brian will have a place there, we can all stay with him.
Yeah, right. There you
Yeah,
go. See?
We'll
Guys
have
can
a
hang out.
condo there with birds.
You got the condo with the birds, and
Right.
you got the cats hanging around. You know,
Yeah.
twilight at twilight.
Yeah, I like it. I like it. All right, Christy, you get to popcorn too.
Oh, sorry, and Sandra.
So you guys are so creative, and I've been visualizing every one of your things, and each time I say, oh, they took the one I want to say. I also was going to say hawk because I love to be soaring above and looking at the big picture and seeing how to make things work. That's what I love to do. I love deer because they're beautiful and graceful. I love the twilight, makes me happy. But I was going to say, the main thing I want to say is, I thought it was interesting that Simone wanted to be 21, which was older. And I look back and I love where I am today. But if I had to choose one age, I would choose 32 because that's my lucky number. But I feel like that's when I became the person that I am today. I had finished school and it's like everything, all the stars aligned at that age. And it's a special time for me. So
Great.
not that I don't love where I am, but if I had to choose, I'd love to be 32.
So great. That was we got some really cool answers here. So if you'll go to the next slide. I know last week, it was last month, feels like last week, we had a wonderful time looking at hidden stories and things that we never really thought about, and how racism and anti-Semitism is just below, it's just below the surface sometimes. And that's what systemic racism or any kind of systemic hatred usually is, just below the radar. And it was such a great conversation. And this week, we'd like to look at some of the resistance stories. And resistance stories are ones that kind of poke at what should really be said, or some of the truth, or it upsets the norm. It really pulls back the curtain and it starts to talk about what's really going on. So we're gonna show you some resistance stories, or just clips that we are curious to see what you have to say about it. And they're the modern definitions of racism and anti-Semitism, and why those two types of hatred, we're looking at them, why they're so destructive, frightening, and why they're in desperate need of change, because we want to pull those things up so that we can take a look and see what is possible to do for change. And when we show you these today, some of them are kind of hard to watch. This is where some of the realities can be troublesome. And I want to just frame what we talked about last week so beautifully. It was outlined by Ty and Christy, that this is really a safe place. And that if something makes you feel uncomfortable, there's no finger pointing here. It's like all of us today are a flock of birds looking at this from above going, wow, there's something wrong that we would really love to get our hands in there and help fix. And we have a very intelligent group here, and we have a lot of hope in you. And I think there's good ideas. So keep in mind that when we're looking at this, it's almost like we're scientists looking into a petri dish or witnesses of what we are seeing, and we're just taking note. None of it, and I think that's really important because this is a safe place. And this is a place where we want honesty and curiosity, because otherwise we don't get to those other places where we begin to create change. So, so let's look at it. Any questions? Anyone want to ask before we start? All right, take it away, Brian.
Thank you, Judy. Definitely speaking to what Judy is saying, we're really trying to break down everything. We want you all to see, how all this has been created and how we can make it better. But it also gives you just a viewpoint of what, especially what we're about to break down in terms of systemic racism. What that even looks like. What does that even mean? I mean, and I'm not really quite sure from your experiences or what you've seen or what you've heard, what that exactly is. But the definition of systemic racism is basically just what institutions in this country that have been around for the last 100 or 200 years that have been, unfortunately directed towards Black people and people of color. And how can we break that down to where those systems are a lot better and positive towards people of color. And so what this first page has here, racism, white privilege, system of racism, the best thing I can do in terms of defining that, and I can use an example, is kind of what's going on today with George Floyd and the policing system. And I think you've all heard about kind of what's going on there with all the protests and all the marches and how that's been created. And basically that's been going on in terms of protests, and goes back to the civil rights movement. A lot of that civil rights movement and what's going on today is directed towards breaking down systemic racism. So, the policing system of today is a good primary example that I can, kind of throw out there for you to know, and because I think you followed it a little bit. But that's what people are protesting and fighting against, is the fact that the courts and the policing system and all of that has just not been very, very positive towards Black and brown people. So basically that's what we want to do, is we want to break that system down to where it's more fair, that it's not just towards one particular category of people, but that it's fair across the board, and that people are that system can flourish in a more positive way as opposed to a negative way. So I think we do have a video that's here. Stephanie, can you, or here we go. On this. Yeah, and just before we click on this, social media is very important in terms of getting the message across of breaking down those prejudices of what these systems do. And I think it's very, very, very important that I know you guys, a lot of you look at YouTube or Facebook or, Instagram, Twitter. Those are great platforms that kind of, to utilize in terms of like either learning about what's going on in the world in terms of systemic racism or racism in general, or, just, putting your voice out there in terms of making a difference, in terms of just being more cohesive with your friends, letting them know, kind of that this kind of thing is wrong. And the other way that I think the reason why the George Floyd thing has gone on and what has been positive about that is primarily because of social media. On a consistent basis, you see a lot of things that are going on these days with regards to racism. So I really believe that it's important, and maybe towards the end of this class, would love to kind of get your thoughts on the information that you get from any one of these platforms, or one of these platforms that you use the most. Yeah, go to the next one, Stephanie, to the link. So in that sense, we have a YouTube video here that is actually talking about TikTok and how that kind of conveys the message of, kind of what the prejudices are, and systemic racism, how people feel about racism or systemic racism. And so I want you to look at this and really sort of follow what they're saying. You might have those same thoughts already, but if you haven't, this is a good video to sort of learn from it or to gather information about what this is all about.
I'm going to stop sharing the screen for a second, so then I'll open up this YouTube and then start sharing again when it starts.
Oh,
just so you guys know.
okay.
I want us to be able to get past any sort of advertisements.
Yeah. Those sneaky advertisements, man.
I just don't like when they show you earwax.
Yes, exactly.
I haven't
That
seen
is
that one.
disturbing. Oh my God.
Have you seen that ad for like these like nose peels where they like peel it off and you see all the stuff that comes off of their face?
Not good.
Oh,
yeah.
Shocking.
TMI.
Steps forward if both of your parents are still married. Take 2 steps forward if you grew up with a father figure in the home.
Can everybody hear this?
You've been surfing TikTok. You've probably seen this meme before.
Yeah.
So why is everyone taking 2 steps? Well, understanding 2 words can help explain what you're seeing here. White privilege. So what is white privilege?
Right now, white privilege seems to be the buzzword. When you have white privilege, the meaning that's attached to white skin is positive, and so it gives you great advantages. So when people see white skin, they see someone who's presumed to be competent, someone who's presumed to be smart, someone who's presumed to be trustworthy and safe and friendly.
Because of the color of your skin, because you're white and you're not black, you are treated differently, a whole lot better than black people. Hold on, great. My name is Quintrell Provo. I'm founder and CEO of Stop the Violence here in Nova Scotia. It does not matter about money or status or where you're at in life. You could be poor, standing next to a rich black man, and they're still gonna look at that white man first because of the color of your skin.
It all starts with racism. Racism is when a person discriminates against someone on the basis of how they look and what ethnic group they belong to. Even though you may think racism does not exist in Canada, it does. The anti-black racism we see today is actually the result of racist decisions. Some that were made a long time ago, and today it lives on in our systems. I want to talk a little bit about what systemic racism is. So can you define that for me?
There are many systems that allow our world to operate. So systems of government, systems of policing, systems of schooling. And so when we talk about systemic racism, we're talking about the ways in which the system operates to disadvantage people based on the color of their skin.
Have you ever experienced any racial injustice or racism when you were growing up?
Even when I was a kid, 10 and 11, playing at my aunt's and everything, and there was a description again of black kids that did a little break and enter. And then, the police car pulls up, we're playing hide and go seek, and they come and stop us, and basically was like, oh, you guys fit the description. We don't know what's going on. We're 10 to 11 years old. We're just playing hide and go seek. They see the first group of black kids and they pull up to us and they're ready to question us. Well, not all black kids look alike. It hurt, especially at 10 and 11 and you don't really know why. And they're saying because of the color of our skin, it hurt.
Look, privilege doesn't mean you've had it easy. Nobody has it easy. White privilege means you've not had to worry about things that black kids have to worry about just because of the color of your skin. It means because you're white, you're automatically 2 steps ahead.
We are racing for $100 bills. Before I say go, I'm going to make a couple statements. If those statements apply to you, I want you to take 2 steps forward. I want you guys up here in the front just to turn around and look. We would be foolish to not realize we've been given more opportunity. We don't want to recognize that we've been given a head start.
One video that is helping to create awareness and create change is, you may have heard of it, but it's the $100 race challenge.
I'm not a guy of trends and stuff on TikTok and all that stuff, but if it's raising awareness and it's making some sort of difference, I'll support. That trend is actually helping, so I'm all for it. There's some change in everyone's listening right now, but we still have a long way to go.
Right now, people are speaking out loud. People are fighting for their humanity. It's important for kids to have their voices heard. And when their voices are not being invited to the decision-making table, especially in schools, to ask their principals and vice principals, can I be on this committee that's planning the assemblies for the whole school that has no kids on it? You have a voice as kids, and I think kids need to be taught how to use it.
Take 2 steps forward if you had access to a free tutor growing up. So, how many steps forward have you taken? Count them and let us know. For cbckidsnews.ca, I'm Elijah Sandyford. Peace.
Oops. All right.
In watching that, it was hard because the video was cutting in and out. Did anybody else have that experience?
The audio, it was only the video, but the audio was pretty clear.
The audio was good. The video, yeah.
So what do you think about that?
Yeah, where I guess my question would be with the, as I mentioned before, what do you think about the video? But as they kind of pinpoint there that social media is a heavy resource towards information on not just racism, but a lot of other things. But what do you think, and where do you get your information, if any, about racism or anti-Semitism from social media, or how what's your thinking behind that, or have you heard from that before through those platforms?
Chase, what do you think? We can't see your face. We just see your beautiful hair. So.
Sorry. So it kind of depends what side of you see, because some people are on social media for sports, or while some people are on it for news and a lot of stuff. So a lot of stuff, social media can be good for spreading the message, but I think it could also teach the wrong message at the same time. It can feed you bad stuff. It could say the police had to shoot this African American, or it could say a story that didn't happen. It can feed you a lot of false information, but it is good for spreading the message.
Did you think that this was a good message on this? Do you think it was accurate, not accurate?
I think for the most part they are accurate. They do help and spread awareness. Just
no, but this one that we watched just now, what do you think of it?
I think it was good. It was accurate. It said the right things. It had the correct meanings and everything to it. So yeah, I think it was a good one.
Savannah?
I think people, not everybody thinks this. People mostly just think social media is just for one thing, just for posting pictures of your dog or your avocado toast you ate this morning. But there's a lot of people on there sending messages and saying things that happened to them, their experiences that might help people understand what happened to that person for what reason. And it just helps you see people all over the world, there things that are going on there, whether it's good or bad, improvements. And people also, I'm forgetting the word, but people acknowledging terrible acts that have happened. All the people that were talking about what happened to George Floyd being wrong. Is that activism? Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Opinions of activism. There's a lot of that on different platforms, and I've seen a lot lately, and I'm impressed.
What did you think of this particular one that we picked to show?
I think it was good because people need to, I'm not saying that people are doing it wrong, but some people who are trying to spread a message are like not necessarily taking kids as well as educating, mostly just like teenagers and like young adults and everything. They included kids and like was a message that wasn't too like complicated.
Mhm.
So people were able to understand it easily. That it was a good video.
Yeah.
Can I jump in for a little question? I'm sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead, Ty.
I appreciate these answers from Chase and Savannah too, and reflecting on social media, which is so good. I'm curious though, kind of, I think Judy, you're getting to this point. The video basically was about a person expressing an experience. They were saying, in other words, what it's like or what it feels like to be Black, and the differences between maybe a Black person's experience and perspective versus non-Black. So my question would be, have you guys, and I'm curious to any of you really, have you guys ever thought about how different you may live, how different your daily life may be, the opportunities you get or your experiences? Did you guys understand the video to be that, and what are your thoughts on that? I want to know what you heard in the video, what you heard in the video.
Yep.
I heard, wait, can you like,
LJ, go ahead.
oh wait, is Chase trying to go?
Oh,
you go ahead. Go ahead.
You go.
So yeah. So can you restate that? Because I'm like confused of exactly what you mean by heard. I'm pretty sure you mean like more than just like listening.
Say it again. The last part you said. Do I mean more than like listening? I mean.
I said, do you mean more than just like listening?
Yeah, more than listening. I mean, like she started off basically talking about the Black experience, how, people are judged. And the guy on there talked about his own experience of being judged for the color of his skin, or being stopped and questioned, or, differently, and how maybe someone who's not Black may not experience it at all. And just, do you understand that maybe you experience things differently, or do you feel you experience things the same? I just want to know what you thought, what came out of that video for you. What did you hear in that video? What did you understand in that video?
Well, and a lot of times when I think of understanding, I think because a lot of people, when I understand something, for me to completely understand it, like to get a full understanding of it, I have to have like a bunch of knowledge on it, or have to relate to it. And in this case, like, I think I relate to it in a way, because in my life, I've actually had, I mean, I'm only like 14, so I don't even know what the rest of my life is to come at the moment. But at the moment, I mean, I like my life. I have a really good life. So it's like, for me, I've had times when, because when I was younger, I was really sheltered. I went to a Christian private school and whatever. And in my private school, there were probably me and like 3 other Black kids, maybe like 1 Hispanic kid, and there were like 0 Asian kids. There was no Asian people at my school at all. And so, but like literally like 97% of the people at my school was white. And when I was younger, I thought that wasn't normal. I didn't think that there could be schools that had like a bunch of Black people in them, or I didn't think that there was even a possibility of there being Black teachers, because at my private school, we didn't have any Black teachers at all. So when the lady was talking about how by the color of your skin, you sort of seem like people perceive you as smarter, I can actually relate to that, because I mean, I was like one of the top students in my class, but since I was one of the top students and like there were only a couple of other Black people in my class and they weren't top students, I thought that I was just like, just the one, Black kid that got it. And then everybody else in the school was super smart. But then the rest of, but then everybody else in the school, since it was like 90% white people, I thought that was like there could only be like a couple of Black people that are smart, and that there weren't many Black people out there that are smart. I thought that I thought that white people was the majority of smart people in the world, because that was literally like my whole entire childhood sort of thing.
Wow. Great. That's not great.
But then when I went to public school, I was very, very surprised to find out that there were a lot more Black people in the world than I had originally thought. Like, I didn't think there were that many Black people in America, but there are actually a lot of us. So it was like a sort of weird awakening for me when I went to middle school about that sort of stuff. So yeah, especially getting exposed to our culture, because I'd never been, like, outside of church and stuff like that and family and whatever, I'd never been exposed to Black culture and stuff like that outside.
Whoops.
Wow.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you.
I think thank you, LJ. That's really good. I mean, and that kind of goes back to when you're talking about when you were in that school with only so many Black people, and then you had a lot of white people that you thought was that way of thinking, and that kind of goes back to the systemic problem too, because you don't have whatever institutions that are like that. Well, I'm not singling yours out, but I think we've all kind of gone through that at one point or another, whether you're part of a system that is teaching you a certain thing or a certain history of whatever, whether that's history, whether that's math or whatever, and you don't have really anybody that can really connect with your essence of being a Black person or a person being of color. That's kind of goes back to being a systemic problem, because they don't have enough maybe people to sort of address that issue, and so they all kind of correlate between the racism part of you being a Black person or you being a white person, however you're thinking, and that system not really properly addressing that in a way where for kids, whether you're Black or white, to even understand that. But then and those systems have to change for that way of thinking to be a lot more broader. So, but that was good that's good that you open up about that. That's great.
Anyone else? Do you want to popcorn that, LJ, to someone else? And remember, the focus is, how did that particular conversation of that video strike you? Was it, what did you think about it? Was it enlightening at all, or something you knew?
Well, I saw Savannah nodding a lot. To my points too, but I already passed to Savannah, so I think I'm gonna pass it to. I don't even think I can see everyone for that. Okay, I can see
you're on top. I want to know how your head is on the other side.
That's what I did.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty cool.
No, you're upside down.
Right there.
I'm upside down.
Yes.
Wait, I actually am. Are you serious?
Yeah.
He's probably looking down on his computer.
Yeah.
What if you turn your computer around, I wonder? It's kind of cool. Let's all be upside down.
Yeah, let's all be upside down.
Yeah, it's hanging.
What I think.
Wait, it's probably something in the settings or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
Anyway,
Don't
you're
worry
fine.
I like
Don't worry
it.
about it. Yeah.
I actually sort of like it, but I think I'll probably pass it on to. Let's go with Dylan.
So what's the question again? Sorry, I was kind of lagging.
Okay.
The question
is, yes.
Go ahead, Ty.
So you go for it.
Well, what did you get a chance to see the video, Dylan?
I watched like the second half of it, I'm pretty sure.
Okay, because they were talking about, there was this one boy, young boy, talking about what his definition of racism is. And also it was juxtaposing it and giving you his experience. And I'm wondering if that was enlightening to you. Was it interesting? Do you think it's accurate? What do you think about what he said about white privilege? That was, an interesting thing. And it's not to feel guilty or to feel, but all of us have different privileges. Just like LJ was saying, hey, in some ways I had privilege. I went in this private school. It might be that you were in a smaller school. There's all kinds of different ways of looking at it. What'd you think about, did you have an opinion about what they said?
I would say like, I'd say it's pretty accurate, and I feel like how he explained it was very interesting, and how like it made you kind of like, I don't know, at least it made me kind of feel like obviously I would never be able to know what it felt like to go through that, but he kind of made it seem here, like it's kind of hard to explain, but like he made it seem like I could, if that makes sense, but like in real life, yeah. So I feel like it was very powerful, I'll say.
Great. Do you want to popcorn to someone else?
I'll pass it to Chase.
I guess I was just thinking, like, cause like one time I watched a movie like about like the racial, like I forget exactly which movie it was, but I remember like it was like an African American family, like they got pulled over by a cop, and like the cop like forced them like onto like the trunk, like, and they kind of forced them, and the African Americans like didn't do anything wrong. And then I remember the next day, like me and my dad, like I think like he just didn't see a stop sign, and we got like pulled over. And it was like it kind of like everything rushed in my head, like I got really scared. And then I kind of remembered like nothing happened. Like the cop just came, like he told my dad to roll down the window, and he's like, "Oh, can I have your license and ID, sir?" And nothing else happened. Like when he reached for it, the cop wasn't like scared, or he didn't judge my dad because he wasn't a person of color. Whereas I saw in the movie, like I actually got kind of scared, because I'm like, what if that happened? But I know I don't have to worry about it as much. But it's sad because I'm just white, just because of a different skin color.
Very good, Chase. Very good. Yeah.
Do you want to pick another opinionator?
Sure. Has Simone went?
I haven't went. Some things I found interesting about the video were just, I feel like I've seen it in a new light almost. I feel like a lot of these issues are really downplayed, but then when like kids speak up about it and like it's all posted on social media, I feel like, especially to like younger audiences, it definitely enhances the effect on people, because for a younger person just like scrolling to TikTok and they see this video, they think, wow, I actually didn't know that. So it's definitely like informative, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, that lineup, I don't know if you ever saw the whole video of that when it came out last year. I think it was last year. It was very disturbing to see, because it was so obvious by what was done in that lineup. And I loved that they commented on it again and brought it back, not to feel badly, but to point it out in real time in something that we all can see. And that was really disturbing, but really important for us to see it over and over, I thought too. Ashley, you get to be, but did you get to say anything? Did we forget Jaden?
No, I didn't get to say anything.
Okay, so Ashley, then Jaden, because we want to show you something else too.
Okay, so in my English class right now, we're reading a book about, it's called Nowhere Boy, and it's about a kid that's a refugee from Syria, and he is in Belgium living in an American white kid's basement, like illegally, and they're friends. But a lot of the issues in it is like a lot of times the white American boy has to go with the immigrant when like he goes to school or he goes anywhere outside, because they think people will think if he's with the white boy that he can't be dangerous just because of the white boy named Max, his white privilege of not being judged as a criminal just because of his race. So
Mhm. Mhm.
It's a bigger issue. Jaden?
I'm going to be completely honest, and I'm going to say that I wasn't really enlightened. I didn't really get enlightened by many things. When a lot of times when something bad happens to my family, I find it kind of hard to be sad. I don't know why, I just can't really be sad at anything. It's not that I don't care, I do care, I just already knew about it, so it wasn't really that enlightening.
I think you're not alone. I think that it's so shocking that it takes a while to set in and even realize it's happening.
Mhm. Yep.
So let's take a look at the next. I think this is a TikTok. And the reason we picked TikTok is because so much actually is going on TikTok, believe it or not, good and bad. But people your age are talking, and we think that that's really important. That's what we want to hear. Oh, we can't hear it.
Whoops. Nope, still can't hear it. Whoa.
To tell them they are something without.
Can we back it up?
Yes.
Tell me that you live with your parents without telling me that you live with.
I was speechless. That hit home for me.
Lauren Lieberman, a Jewish woman from Montreal, is still fuming about what she recently saw on TikTok.
I think enough is enough.
There's a trend on TikTok in which people ask others to tell them they are something without actually saying it. Tell me that you live with your parents without telling me that you live with your parents. I'll go first. Hey, son. Yes? Where are you going?
Some difficulties.
This time it was tell me you're Jewish without telling me you're Jewish. A TikToker who says he's 18 years old and from Quebec responded with a reference to the ovens of concentration camps.
That hit home for me. My grandparents were in the Holocaust.
Lieberman denounced the video to her Instagram followers, also pointing to another TikTok trend last August. Teens were dressing up like concentration camp prisoners.
And they're young and they think it's okay. They think it's a joke. And that's why I think that everyone needs to be educated on World War II.
An American survey done last year found that 63% of millennials in Generation Z did not know 6 million Jews were murdered by Nazis in the Holocaust. Nearly 50% could not name a single one of the notorious concentration camps, where Jews were systematically killed in gas chambers, their corpses incinerated in ovens.
In some respects, teenagers get into this position because one, they're seeking attention, which we all do. You don't need to be a teenager to seek attention. But two, in some instances, they lack the knowledge.
Dr. Joan Donovan of Harvard University says hateful content often gets traction. Whether you're offended or you agree with it, your clicks tell the platform this is something people want to see.
Once you start to engage with hateful content online, you're actually adding fuel to the fire.
After Lieberman called him out and thousands denounced the video, the teen took it down and apologized, saying some thought it was funny, but others took offense, that he realizes the Holocaust is not a joking matter.
More than likely, the person doing this when they're younger, they have no idea how long this is going to follow them throughout the rest of their lives.
The teen could not be reached for comment. Dan Spector, Global News, Montreal.
Oh, Ashley. Ashley, go.
Portable AC.
Wait.
I recently discovered how to refrigerate any room in my house in under 5 minutes without using.
Ashley, what do you think about that? I see you.
I think that I can't believe that like anyone would think that would be funny somehow. But about the part where 63% people didn't know that 6 million Jews died in the Holocaust. In my history and class and current events class, we were learning about how like in the world, if the world was a village, like how many of this race or this ethnicity or anything there would be. So, and out of the 100 people, like there was only one Jewish person, and a lot of people in my class were confused and they didn't understand. But the I understood, because I knew that so much of the Jewish population was killed in World War II, and I think that it's important. In America, a lot of times people are like in a bubble where they think just because in their area, maybe Jewish people or one ethnicity, there or race there is a lot of, when you look at the world, there isn't that many of those people, and it's a minority.
In fact, it's 0.03% of the whole world's population that are Jewish. I mean, it's tiny. And it's hard to, with so much that gets stirred up, it's amazing that it's such a small part of the population. And not everybody knows that. Even people who are Jewish don't know that. Let me find the exact, I want to find the exact. Anyone else?
I mean, I can just say, I can just tell you when you showed me that video the other day, and then you'll know what you'll remember when I said this, but I could not believe that number of 63%.
Me too.
Doesn't even know that 6 million Jewish people perished. I thought that was amazing.
I also want, the generations are interesting too, because it's Gen Z and millennials. And so you guys are Gen Z. Wait, I get that confused. Are you Gen Z?
Yeah, I think Gen Z is
Gen Z.
Yeah.
Millennials.
Yeah, we are.
Okay. Yeah, and that's the fear that there's we have a lot of Holocaust survivors who speak to the kids, and they're now in their 80s and 90s. They're, dying out. Even they were children at the time, and they still are able to talk about it, just like that girl said her grandparents were in the Holocaust. And so the fear is that people will forget, and that they will think, oh, that happened a long time ago, and so it didn't really happen. And so it's coming true, and it's by that statistic. And that's a worry, because it was so horrendous.
And it's not being taught in the schools. 63%.
That's right.
That's what's crazy to me. This is just Black history, Jewish history, completely overlooked in the school system.
And it is American history. That's the point. This is Jewish history is American history now. Black history is American history. It's all there, and it doesn't get talked about in any kind of contextual way, which is the problem. It's just when you bring, having been an educator and knowing that, okay, we got to learn this year, but it's not hooked to anything else. So it's like you just get another part of the story that you don't know where the last part of the story came from. So I wish there was a way to, to put everything into perspective so you could see it as a whole, that everybody is connected that way in the United States.
Grace, I see your hand up.
Grace, yeah.
Go ahead.
I just wanted to say one thing, since we're talking about both of our histories, like African Americans and Jews have been blamed for so much. So I just learned about the plague and how Jews were blamed for poisoning water wells. So I just wanted to say Jews have been blamed for a lot of things that, which led to which kind of led to more problems. And then even now with the Capitol riot, people were wearing shirts that said 6 mil wasn't enough. And then also for African American, it also dates back to when I remember in Africa, they were sent on a ship for slavery, and they was just sold kind of they were props. So it's just history too, not just now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree, Chase. I agree.
Other comments?
Yeah,
Savannah,
yeah.
hand raised.
That video was very, very surprising because in my school, well, my old school a while ago, they taught, well, they didn't necessarily teach it. It was out of our curriculum, but the teacher brought it up, the Holocaust in 5th grade. So that's when I figured out what it was and like what was going on. And it was so surprising to see the statistics on the video of how many people did not know, because I've been knowing for what, 4, almost 5 years now. And some people just found out because they were asked the question. And it's just so shocking to see how many people don't know stuff. Because I right now I believe if somebody said Bill Gates created the coronavirus, somebody would believe that that was true. But
so he could get
Yep.
rich.
Right.
But as you said,
Yeah.
though, it wasn't part of your curriculum, but your teacher brought it up.
Yeah.
So it's like the school, yeah. So it's like we need teachers that represent their students, and we need teachers that are willing to go off of the curriculum that's been told that they've been told they have to teach and share actual history.
Yeah.
Well, that's what the 1619
Great.
project is that they're pushing against, which shows slavery from England to the US. So that's what I'm talking about, context. That shows you the context where you don't get it pulled out of, oh, it just started in the Civil War. You know, it goes all the way back. Jewish history goes all the way back.
Yeah, well,
So-
and even as a kid, 1492, I mean, I have that plastered in my head is when, you know, Columbus sailed the ocean blue. Well, there was a reason Columbus sailed the ocean blue, because that was when in 1492, in Spain, when Jews were being massacred.
Exactly.
For being and thrown out of Spain. And so they had to become explorers. But that piece I never learned until I was an adult. So
Right.
yeah, if we're a melting pot, our history should be a melting pot, because everything ticked off everything else. I mean, even
Absolutely.
and I mean, it's amazing to see it, you know, compiled, because we all are interconnected. But there are a lot of Jewish people that don't know about it either. And we teach it in our school. And a lot of parents didn't want us to teach it at first. They were too afraid for their children to hear about it. It changed over the last 10 years, right, Sandra? All of a sudden it was okay. Yeah, Ashley.
Well, I kind of two things. Like a lot of times in school, like in my grade, some teachers are like, they're still reluctant to teach us about the Holocaust. And because a lot of the videos are like disturbing, but like that's what happened, I guess. So of course they're gonna be kind of disturbing or sad because that's what happened, and that all those people were killed, and not just Jews, but the majority of them were Jews. And I think it's sad. And also, like Christopher Columbus, people for years like got taught that he discovered America, but he didn't discover it. People were already living here that were living there for a while.
Right.
So
Yeah, you're
these things in school,
Insightful.
like sometimes you need to look back in history and think about who's writing the history books.
Yeah.
And about the
That is so
racism
good.
during Nazism in Germany. There was racism going on there at the same time. That's whoever talked about it.
I really appreciate what everyone has said. It's been really insightful. And not Simone, I think it was Ashley. What you were just talking about was really powerful. And I like that you brought it up, how sensitive adults we can be. I'm an adult. We can be very sensitive to what we feel like you guys can take. And so to hear you say, you know, hey, it happened. Basically, you're saying it is sad. We might have feelings about it, but it's true. Don't hide it from us. So I do have that question to you guys on this call, because we even we're wondering about things too, like, oh my God, is that too much? Should we do this? Should we do that? How do you guys feel? I'd like each of you to chime in on us bringing things like this to you. Do you all feel like it's okay, or do you feel like some stuff you shouldn't? How open are you to have these sorts of things come to you? You know what I mean? Like, I'd like to hear from you guys because we just speculate. I hope you understood my question. It was kind of, anybody? Is it okay to show you things like this? Would you guys like to see more honesty of history and not be so protected from those things? How do you feel about that?
Yeah, honestly, definitely, yeah. Because ignorance is bliss, but it's bliss when you don't know about it, but then when you find out about it, the bliss sort of turns into, honestly, frustration, because I'm like, since I was sort of sheltered in my life, I knew about all this stuff, but I didn't know it to the full extent until like I got older and my parents told me about this, and I was like, well, why didn't you tell me this sooner, sort of thing? And then I could have known about it, because yeah, and I feel like that's one of the reasons, because I think my most used one of my most used ones, I don't think it's my most used, but one of my most used is TikTok, and I really like how open TikTok is. And people at TikTok will sort of spit it out to you straight, sort of thing. They don't really like sugarcoat anything. So that's one of the things that I like. Especially sometimes on the trending page or whatever on TikTok, it has like some Black Lives Matter stuff and the Asian Lives Matter and whatever, or what is it, Asian hate attacks or whatever. I think it's called Asian hate attacks on there. And people just be talking about, like, they even showed a picture of like a protest, and it was like and they showed like the whole entire protest of them getting tear gas and running away from it, the police violence. They showed everything. And I really, it's not like, obviously I don't want to see that all the time, but I at least want to be knowledgeable of it so that I won't be ignorant from it, because I don't like ignorance. So.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, LJ. Anybody else? Ashley?
I feel like the more like time that we don't learn about stuff like this, and we are protected or sheltered from the truth and what happened, we get these ideas and these thoughts about like how people actually are, these biases against people. So I think it's important to teach this at a younger age, not too young, but like definitely like middle school, like that age, because I feel like as our brains develop, then and we start looking maybe at like certain places on the internet, we some people tend to stick to that opinion and they don't want to learn. So either that's a good thing, or in most ways that's a bad thing. So I think it's important to learn.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ashley. That was great. Absolutely. Why don't we move on to the next slide? I know we're
Great
working on time.
conversation.
But I gotta say, I'm just loving these comments from the kids. I mean, I think you guys are great.
Me too.
Expressing yourself in ways that we can also learn from. But we just very happy that you guys are participating in this way. It's great. What's the next one?
Oh, there we go.
That one. Okay.
Is there
Judy,
any
did you want
this one you want to start with, or
did you want to take this one, or did you want to?
Yeah, well, I think that let's take a look at it first, and then let's see, because it speaks
Yeah,
for
we'll just
both.
But,
okay.
First show that one and then the other one. Yeah, they're short.
Okay. Again, let me get this started, then I'll stop sharing the screen and I'll get past the advertisements if there are any.
California homeowners, if you are sick of paying too much money
Did it freeze? Oops.
No, I'm just getting you to the full YouTube screen now.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, I got to get out and then share it.
Oh, you got it. That's right.
Jackson is apologizing after sharing an anti-Semitic quotation falsely attributed to Hitler on social media. The team in the NFL swiftly condemned the posts, but tonight there's new controversy surrounding the comments. Seeing as Brian Todd is following all of this for us, Brian, what's the latest?
Wolf, tonight, Deshaun Jackson is on the defensive. His team is trying to figure out what to do with him. Jewish leaders are outraged, and many observers are saying this really could not have come at a more combustible time. He's been one of the NFL's most dazzling and best-known players for more than a decade. But tonight, Deshaun Jackson is desperately trying to salvage his reputation. The Philadelphia Eagles wide receiver in recent days posted on Instagram quotes that are falsely attributed to Adolf Hitler. The director of Philadelphia's chapter of the Anti-Defamation League says the fact that it's not a real quote from Hitler isn't the point.
So to see that on Instagram from a sports figure, it was so jarring and hurtful and offensive. And that's what we want Deshaun Jackson to understand, what his spreading that kind of message, what the impact that has.
The Eagles, whose owner and general manager are Jewish, issued a statement calling Jackson's posts absolutely appalling. The NFL called them highly inappropriate, offensive, and divisive. Jackson issued an initial apology saying, "Anyone who feels I have hate towards the Jewish community took my post the wrong way. I have no hatred in my heart towards no one." But then another apology saying, "My intention was to uplift, unite, and encourage our culture with positivity and light. Unfortunately, that did not happen. I unintentionally hurt the Jewish community in the process, and for that, I am sorry."
I just want you guys to understand that it never was intended to be, to put any race down or any religion down.
But according to the Washington Post, Jackson had also posted an image on Instagram of Nation of Islam leader Louis Farrakhan, calling Farrakhan powerful.
He is a powerful speaker. The problem is that he's been known for decades to spew hate against the Jews and others, and amplifying his messages is very dangerous.
The fallout from Jackson's postings probably couldn't come at a more sensitive time, just weeks after several prominent Black athletes sent powerful messages against racism during the George Floyd protest movement.
If you're a member of the African American community and you want respect from people, you have to give that same respect. You can't tell people that we should be treated like human beings, which is obvious, and then go and demean another group of people.
But adding to this controversy was a posting from Steven Jackson, the former NBA player who was an inspiring voice during the George Floyd protests. Steven Jackson seemed to support Deshaun Jackson's now deleted postings about Jews. Columnist Mike Freeman says so much for the goodwill that Steven Jackson created over the past few weeks.
And he said some really passionate, smart things and was a really good, almost spokesperson for what's happening. And then now I think this destroys it all. It obliterates it all.
Now, Steven Jackson is now saying he was not agreeing with Deshaun Jackson's post. He was agreeing with something from a conversation before getting on live about handling the fallout from Deshaun Jackson's posts. As for Deshaun Jackson himself, NBC Sports Philadelphia is reporting that he has reached out to a prominent rabbi in the Philadelphia area to seek guidance on anti-Semitism. But will the Eagles discipline Deshaun Jackson or cut him, as some Jewish leaders and sports columnists are calling for? We have reached out to the Philadelphia Eagles. For the moment, at least, they are not answering that question.
Well, all right, Brian.
So we could stop right there, Stephanie.
Bring in CNN Sports.
And just show the next one, because I think that this is what we have to be a part of, the full story told. Yeah. And I think that if it went on, we see how something's saying, then it's revoked. But in the next video too, the Black community is making a concerted effort to catch this, and the Jewish community to catch this before it turns into something that is worse. And what they're finding at the core, and this is the most important thing, is that it's a lack of education, of the sensitivity of both, of all of us, any of us who are in minorities. There's a lack of education. And a lack of sensitivity that has to also be talked about. Do you want to show the last one? I think there's one more.
Yeah, there's one more, yeah.
Let me start it again because it's muted here. There we go.
Now, with that new fallout for Nick Cannon, the actor, rapper, and television host fired by Viacom overnight following racial and anti-Semitic comments he made on his podcast. Eva Pilgrim has those details for us. Good morning, Eva.
Good morning, Robin. Cannon has been on social media tweeting both messages of support and attack. The network saying they fired Cannon after he promoted hateful speech on his podcast on YouTube. Overnight backlash for Nick Cannon after these controversial comments on his podcast, Cannon's Class.
We are the Semitic people. When we are the same people that who they want to be, that's our birthright.
Viacom CBS announcing they are cutting ties with the comedian.
What about the big ear corn?
Who they have had a decades-long relationship with.
So the people that don't have it are a little, and I'm gonna say this carefully, are a little less.
In the June 30th episode of this podcast, Cannon speaking to former Public Enemy member Professor Griff.
The only way that they can act is evil. The only way they have to rob, steal, rape, kill, and fight or flight in order to survive.
Exactly.
So then these people who didn't have what we had, and when I say we, I speak of the melanated people.
Right.
They had to be savages.
The 39-year-old host facing criticism for his comments, also accused of perpetuating an anti-Semitic conspiracy theory.
The Rothschilds, centralized banking, the bloodlines that control everything even outside of America.
Cannon, who most recently hosted the Fox show The Masked Singer, taking to social media Monday to explain, saying, "Anyone who knows me knows that I have no hate in my heart nor malice intentions." But Cannon stopped short of apologizing, instead saying, "I hold myself accountable for this moment and take full responsibility." Cannon's long-running show Wild and Out airs on VH1. Viacom CBS saying in a statement overnight that they condemn bigotry of any kind. And Viacom telling ABC News, "We are deeply troubled that Nick has failed to acknowledge or apologize for perpetuating anti-Semitism, and we are terminating our relationship with him." Robin.
So this,
So just
I can add one more thing. This little piece about the Rothschilds is a very big conspiracy theory. If you guys happen to see it, and I want to say that there is a list of who are the richest people in the world, and they aren't Jewish people. I mean, it's Jeff Bezos. I mean, I have a list here of just Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, Bernard Arnault, Bill Gates. Those are the leading top billionaires in the world, and no one goes after their heritage. And as that I don't even know what their heritage is. And so that is a really inflammatory comment, and it's worrisome because there is this belief that because of the Rothschilds that there's this whole that the Jews own the banks or some, there's things that are said that way. So I just think that yeah.
Can you please explain what the Rothschild is?
Oh, the Rothschilds were a family who did have a lot of power in the banking world. When, how many years ago? During the time of Germany and World War II, and they were
family, right?
a Jewish family, large Jewish family. But you also have the Fords, and you also have, I mean, there was a handful of them, white, not there. There was not, except on Wall Street. I don't know what the. I know that there were wealthy blacks, but they weren't in that circle. That's for certain. And so they were a family like the Kennedys, or they had power in the banking world, but it was just one family. There were others. So part of the story is told, and the conspiracy theory is it's only them. you know, that is a power center. And so those things, you know, just like those numbers are important to even look at, and more information and accurate information is needed. So same thing with all the, with many of the movie, Disney and many of the entertainment corporations, they're not owned by Jewish people if you take a look at it. And yet that myth is perpetuated. So that's just something that I think that you should know. And I'm happy to put the numbers in so that you have them at your fingertips, just to be able to reference if somebody says something like that. Yeah, Ashley.
I remember, so a lot of times, like, people, well, just CEOs and like people that own businesses, like big companies, like in school we'll learn about like what they did, but I think I was reading in a book that Henry Ford was anti-Semitic. And well, if I hadn't read that book, I wouldn't have known that. And I think a lot of people don't know that. So I think it's important to learn also like some of the bad stuff that these big companies that influence a lot of the world today, like some of the bad things they did and the good stuff.
Same thing with presidents, and who was for who were the ones who stood up against slavery and who kept it in place. You know, it's disturbing, and yet I think it's important to look at it in a neutral way, like we've been looking at all of this. Oh boy, this is all kind of, I can put this in a different perspective now. And that was our hope today.
Yeah. Let me just say one thing. I mean, when you saw the videos of, you know, I just want to make sure that people know this, and I think that's the reason why we kind of put it up. But because of the Black community kind of pushing back on, you know, on this whole thing with Nick Cannon and Deshaun Jackson, and I think this is kind of an example and a teaching moment of when whether you're, you know, Jewish or Black, when somebody's calling somebody else out, and it's a problem, that you have other, you know, you have other people that can fight back against that kind of prejudice. And as a result of when Nick Cannon and those guys said those things, as a result, the majority of the Black community came up and said, hey, look, you know what, that's not right. You know, you need to, you know, you need to kind of understand and learn about this whole thing, as opposed to you just kind of going off like that. So I think in the end, you know, Nick Cannon is doing a lot of wonderful things for, you know, doing some things within the Jewish community that probably wouldn't have happened unless, you know, other powerful Black figures and other Black people or other people in general who kind of push back on that and say, hey, look, you know what, that's not entirely right what you're saying about Jewish people, and it could go the other way. But I think it goes back to any one of us who, if one of your friends or anybody else who's talking about another culture and doing it in a demeaning way, that's how that stuff stops, is to your understanding of what's going on, and then saying to your friends, hey, look, you know what, you saying something about Black people, or you saying about, you know, Jewish people, that it's up to us to really stay strong and say, hey, that's not right. Let me educate you on what's going on with that particular community or culture or anything like that, because that's the problem. People don't talk to each other. And I think that now this is the reason why Judy and I wanted to put this together, is for our cultures to talk to each other and have an understanding. So when that stuff happens, that it becomes an even greater force, that you say, hey, you know what, you're right. I have a better understanding about Jewish people. I have a better understanding of Black people. Let's make this even more powerful than what we can make it. So I just kind of wanted to put the context into this whole thing, and not, you know, for that to be understanding.
Thank you. I also want to say that I'm going to put together a little sheet, because I like the questions, and maybe you don't know who the Rothschild family is, and, you know, the percentages and some of those numbers. I'm going to send you guys a little sheet, and let's add to it the more we find. And I think that some of that reality, and I do want to say that the Black community was fantastic in this arena. There was a real working together, which was really hopeful, that there's just no tolerance for any of this. And this, I mean, I bet if we extended this out to the Asian community, like there's a lot that we could add to this, but we're just focused on these two. I think, yeah, did we have one more video, Brian?
Yeah.
This was good.
Yeah,
So
one more.
I'll get this one
Yeah.
set up.
That's a couple minutes.
So we're going to, as we start to close, I want us to think about where this stuff comes from. Like, you know, where did racism come from, and where did because it's a core of fear. A lot, you know, this idea of fear of just not knowing one another, being afraid to talk, being afraid to insult. And I just am wondering if you guys, as you're watching this, thinking of maybe Gen Z and the millennials not knowing as much are actually a good thing, because they're not being influenced necessarily as much by their grandparents or great grandparents. Maybe there's a chance that new stories can be written, and as we keep bringing this to the forefront.
So wait, do you want us to watch the video and then respond to that?
Yeah. I was trying to bide some time so we weren't just making Stephanie feel uncomfortable.
It's funny how the world has different time zones. How it could be Saturday on this side of the world and Friday somewhere else. Yet somehow the United States of America is stuck in 1920. That was 100 years ago. Yet we're still fighting for our lives, for a place here. What did we ever do to make them hate us so much? I know for a fact they love our culture. They love to steal our braids, the way we talk, anything we call ours. But when it's that one white bad cop and that one innocent black person, that black person fears for their life. This is the world we live in. See, when I was younger, teachers used to ask kids what they wanted to be when they grew up. Some kids said famous. I was one of those kids. But now I changed my answer. The thing I want to be when I grow up is alive. How do I know that I'm going to make it out alive if I'm suspicious doing nothing? If I'm suspicious when I'm at my own house, sleeping in my own bed? Why am I suspicious? Because I could have sworn from 1 to 3 I was the cutest thing. But when did I stop being cute and start being scary? Am I scary if I have a black hoodie? Am I scary if I wear a backpack? Am I scary if I do nothing? Am I scary? Does my dad scare you? Does my mom scare you? Does my auntie scare you? Because let me tell you something. We are not scary. Ahmaud Arbery, Breonna Taylor, George Floyd, Tamir Rice, Daunte Hamilton, Michael Brown, Eric Garner, John Crawford, Ezell Ford, Walter Scott, Ja'Kai Gert, Stephen DeMarco, Tony Robbins, Miles Hall, Jamie John, Antoine Rose, Stephon Clark, Jacob Blake. Say their names. You will earn my respect when I don't have to fear for my life or anybody else's. Until then, my respect will not come for free. Black Lives Matter.
Dang, that hit really hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very powerful.
What do you think, LJ? What did you think? What's your first thoughts on that?
I'm gonna be real. So whenever, it's not just me, but whenever most people, this is not everyone, obviously. This is like, I'd say it's probably 80% though. probably like 70, no, I'd say like 70%, maybe 65%. But when people think of racism and all the stuff that goes with it, and anti-Semitism and white privilege and all that stuff, whatever, and stuff like that, I feel like even if we don't think we are, I feel like half of us like sugarcoat it for ourselves.
Yep.
Like we don't look at the whole thing. We look at part of it and then try and find like, oh, it's not as bad, or oh, it's not this, or maybe it'll get better if we do something here or whatever, right? But I feel like a lot of us, I mean, it is getting better, but still, like I feel like a lot of us don't look at reality. We try and make ourselves like a little false reality, saying that everything is okay when it's not, and that's okay that it's not. And when it's not okay if it's not, but that's okay to accept that it is not okay. And I feel like that we really need to learn to be able to cope with that and not try and hide it from ourselves that stuff is not okay, because that's even worse than us saying that, because that's even worse than us saying that it is not okay, is for us to be in like a false fantasy thinking that part of it is okay or that part of it is not as bad, because when you think like that, then bad stuff starts to happen. So
Yeah.
that's what this video sort of spoke to me about, was about, she did not sugarcoat it. That's why it hit so hard for me, because I'm like one of those people that think of racism and then try and sugarcoat it for myself. So when she was really speaking out about it like that, you sort of had to get out your head and you sort of had to snap back into existence and be like, wow, this is really going on, you know?
Right.
So,
Right.
yeah.
Right. No, that's good. That's good, LJ.
I think that
Great.
as you were speaking, LJ, I just got goosebumps because we don't even know it about ourselves. When I would hear, I had a lot of kids ask me that same question. Why do people hate the Jewish people? Like, what did we do? I have so many students ask me that. And when you start to see why, like with videos like that, it's shocking to hear, because you have nothing to do with it. They don't know LJ, they don't know me, they don't know each one of you. So where'd they get this and why, so I just think that, I mean, that was so powerful to hear that. And I associated it with both actually, and it broke my heart. It just broke my heart to think. And I love what you said. We all are sugarcoating. We want it to be okay. And I think that's why Brian and I, at our ripe young age, thought, we're not youngsters. And we thought, wow, what have we done? And then all of us who decided to come together don't want to leave this earth without trying to do something. And that's why, you are so important to us. And I think that you're really hearing it when I'm hearing, and I'd love to hear from more of you, but I want you to know that it's really, you're very wise, and it's really important for us to hear that. Who else would, Simone, did you want to say something?
No, sorry. I was just talking to someone came in the room.
Okay.
Ashley?
I think that the video really spoke out to me, and then I feel like things like how when people first see you, what do they think, and how do they judge you based off what you look like, and things like stereotypes, or like a lot of people will make jokes that include stereotypes and about stereotypes of people, and then when people get mad they say, oh, it's just a joke, but the stereotypes stick to people, and the more people that know about these stereotypes, the more when they first see someone, they'll think automatically, because it's in their brain, oh no, that person could be a criminal, oh no, that person, I don't trust them. And I don't understand how people I don't understand how people can just I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's all
You know,
right.
give people a chance, yeah.
Yeah, we get it. We know what you're saying. Yep, totally get it.
Exciting.
Yeah, that video is very powerful. Very powerful. Yeah. All right.
Ashley, thank you for sharing that.
It's,
Yeah.
I mean, we're crying with you. Absolutely.
Yep. That's what that comes out of that from, you know, it's a tough thing. It really is. It really is tough. Yeah, LJ, I know. Yeah.
Savannah or Jaden or Dylan, we'd love to hear.
Anybody else have any comments or how you respond to that? No.
I just think it's super important to not look away, to always look at it and not look away. And that's what anytime that things are uncomfortable and, you know, now we're together and we know each other, but you see something and you want to look away from it rather than looking straight at it. And that's what's so powerful about that. And that's what's so powerful about our talking about this and actually looking at it.
Mm-hmm.
Is it too late for me to say something?
No, please.
Oh, please, Savannah, go ahead.
I don't know how to pronounce this person's name, but I just did an essay about him in English. I'm gonna type it in the chat if I can even spell it right. Do you guys know how to pronounce that person's name?
Wiesel, yes.
Wiesel.
Mm-hmm.
I just did an essay about his speech about indifference, I believe it was.
Yeah.
And it's really, really hard to see people sit like idly by when they know they can do something. It's either because they don't want to do anything or people don't know how to not how to deal with it, or like there are not enough people in charge to do something, because there's always people in there that don't want to do something, and there's one person in that group that wants to help, but majority doesn't, so nothing gets done. And it's so sad how many times this has happened, no matter what it is, because there's so many things that need to be fixed about the world, not just in the past, because a lot of things happened in the past that need to be not dealt with per se, but yeah. And too many things that are sticking throughout history, like different stereotypes, different, like Ashley said, jokes, because the amount of times there have been jokes about stereotypes that I've gotten at school, none of them are true, none of them are funny. It's just, and there are some people that think the only way to be funny are by using stereotypes and different things. There are so many other different ways to be funny, other jokes that don't involve hurting people. It's just really sad and racism is taught. It doesn't come out of thin air like, oh yeah, I decided to hate this person today. No, your parents knew what they were doing when they told you this information. So it's definitely difficult to see people thinking what they're saying is okay, or saying it anyway, even though they know it's not okay. It's just sad how many people do it.
Yeah.
We were looking at some of the root causes. I want to give you the top 10 that came up. Interestingly enough, I think you've hit on so many of them. And one is, number one was self-interest, that experts believe that in Europe, when they decided to use slavery, they needed to justify their barbaric behavior. So they claimed that slavery was acceptable because slaves were less than human. I mean, it was something that all of a sudden, this is how it was justified. Or there's scientific racism, where scientific theories discredited people. So in in anti-Semitism, they would say Jews had long noses, they had smaller brains. They made up different scientific things that were crazy. Maintaining the status quo. There was this fear that racist ideas were suppressed because it would make the system have to disappear. There's so much fear around that. And these discriminatory policies, because good people don't challenge racism. Good people don't step up. They're not strong enough. Cause 6 is media representation and those different stories that we've been pointing out. Living in an echo chamber that some people want to speak up, but they don't feel like anyone's listening. The failing to recognize racism in oneself, which was brought up today. These quick judgments, another one that was brought up. And the worst one is casting blame. Just blaming someone for a pandemic and these are human things that have come up and that are definitely, we can deal with that. We're naming, the biggest step that we took today is just naming some of the things that are coming out. And our hope is that after this, because we want to wrap this up, but after today, it would be really wonderful if maybe you would look out on your social media, what do they call it? Your social media, I was going to say pulpits. It's called something else. The social media that you look at, Instagram, whatever it is, TikTok,
Platform.
Thank you, platform, not pulpit. But if you could bring them, because we're all researching, and if you could bring them in next week, because now you're going to notice a little bit more, or you're going to pinpoint your searches. And it would be really interesting to hear from you guys what you could pull in from, in the next month from social media, so that we can culminate some of this. And next time we teach this again, we will have even more information, because we're trying to pool it together as wonderful ways to reach out to other teachers and educational curriculums and all of that. So, Brian, do you have some closing words that you want to say?
Yeah, I just wanted to say I'm just happy that we were. I think this is a really big step in terms of what we did today. I think it really hit home. I believe it hit home with a lot of you in terms of what you watched and what we put forth, and for you to really think about just kind of what this anti-Semitism and racism and systemic racism is all about. But as Judy said, we're getting a lot of information from you guys, and your participation was just incredible today. I really love the fact that you guys are really forthcoming in your feelings and really being true to yourself in terms of how you feel and what you've gone through. And we want to keep that up. We want your honest opinion about a lot of things. And as Judy has said, this is a safe space. It's, you guys can say anything you want. It's not a right or wrong answer. It's not a wrong answer. It's just what you feel. And ultimately, we just have it to where, everybody has an understanding of each other's cultures and a better understanding, and that we can kind of take this thing to the next level. So thank you.
Before we close, also, if anybody has questions, I'm going to send something out through Ty that you're curious about, like who the Rothschilds were, what the conspiracy theory is. So in a nutshell, are there any other, maybe you want to know more about who Elie Wiesel was, what his, in tiny, like I'll do it in just a really tiny paragraph, but are there anything that you're curious about?
Not at the moment. I think I have a pretty good understanding from Savannah's explanation. I think I've gotten the gist of it. So yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Very good.
All
Well,
right.
thank you, everyone.
You all had such incredible things to say, and I look forward to our next. I think that Ty sent out all of the dates that we have. Did you guys get something like this?
Whoops. You see, Midpoint's in the way.
Yeah, so with the screen backgrounds, that's why with the screen backgrounds, last time I was here, I would put one of the white papers up in front of the screen and it would just completely black out because for some reason white is the background, not green. So if you put white up to the thing.
All right, well, it was sent out with the Zoom, so take a look at the dates, make sure that you can come, and also please write out, I hope you have a little journal handy where I'm talking with a lot of my students to keep them thinking about it, but please write down some of the things, the nuggets that you are taking away from this.
Great job, everybody. It was really powerful.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
See you soon.
Thank you. Bye,
Bye,
everybody.
have a nice day.
Have a good rest of the day, evening. Bye.
You too.
See you next
Bye.
month.
Wow.
Good job, Stephanie. Not panicking.
I wonder if any of the kids need a follow-up, like Ashley was very taken with everything, you know?
Ashley was really, I mean, man, that Ashley was very emotional, and but you know what, I love that. I mean, that it's raw emotion.
Yeah.
I mean, they're starting to kind of feel some things that, you know, that they weren't tapped in before.
Yeah.
Because as we keep talking about this and people are more comfortable with each other, that, you know, that kind of reaction is going to come out, which is kind of what we want. And it opens up their minds a little more about all this, you know?
Yeah, because they see it, they hear it, they talk about it with the news, but not always does it just become more personal. You know, it's like they know, oh, I shouldn't be racist. Oh, yes, I understand the plight of, you know, the Black person, but they don't, it doesn't become real until they see something or experience something themselves. And a lot of them are a little young to have gone through that experience or firsthand seen something that trigger that.
Yeah, I don't think any of them have had this experience. And we're showing them like another part of life, because in some ways they're sheltered too.
Yep.
I thought.
I mean, what got me was, man, I mean, you know, when LJ was talking about the school that he was at, and he, you know, because he was the smart kid, but then he thought that the two other Black kids were not.
Right. Or that he was the smart Black kid. He wasn't just a smart kid in school. He was the smart Black kid. He wouldn't compare himself as I'm the smart kid in my class. I'm the smart Black kid in my class.
Right.
So he, in his brain, was dividing, oh, the white kids are completely separate. They're smart, but I'm the smart Black kid, not just a smart kid.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Or Savannah sort of having, oh, we learned about it, but that was just because my teacher introduced it. I mean, if it had not been for the teacher wanting to introduce that a part of history, she never would have heard it. Or how many other kids? That's why 63% of kids aren't learning anything. The teachers are opting not to teach it because it's not part of their curriculum or they don't know about it themselves. Right. And this 63% is shocking, but I totally understand it. It's not taught.
Ty and I were just talking about that maybe at our next meeting that we can have a conversation among us about some of the videotapes, because she was taken with one, I was taken with one. I was actually taken with her hoodie story last week, I told her. So I think it would be kind of cool to maybe we even record it just to hear us, because I know for me, I could have said a million things. I just stayed quiet because it was all about the kids, you know, so it's kind of interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, they responded a lot to the, you know, the social media stuff. I mean, that's what they look at.
Well, Brian and I redid a lot of the videos, as you could see, because Brian had the brilliant idea of bringing TikTok in, and we saw, wow, we're not going to have much chance to get, like, forget teaching them, you know, like the historical stuff. Let's get right to what's being said on TikTok. And here's what's interesting, that they looked at TikTok as more accurate. That like they go through to hear the real talk.
Yep.
And I never would have thought that. And I think
Yep.
that's a huge thing that we discovered today.
Yeah, they responded big time towards that. They were
Mhm.
like, I mean, you could see them being a little bit captivated, like, oh, this is TikTok now, or Instagram or whatever, right?
Yeah.
I think
And
TikTok is it for them.
they look at it all the time.
Right.
So,
Right.
But
know,
a step
so-
above all that, I felt so happy that my impression is that they feel like this is a safe space, and
Yep.
they were a step more comfortable and talking. And I don't know if you saw in the chat, but LJ said, "Wow, Ashley, that was amazing," or whatever he said. You know, they were conversing, and I thought that was great.
Good point, Sandra. Yeah, I did notice that when he addressed what Ashley said. That was that's what we want. We want more and more. We want them to kind of exchange with themselves. You know, that's what we want. Yeah. So yeah. Job, everybody.
Ooh, well, that was great. I learned a lot.
Yeah, I learned a lot. There was a little emotion there. So we're gonna have a call this Thursday, right? Are we gonna this Thursday or no?
Let me look really quick.
Don't we do it usually the week after
Well, last time we spoke now and we skipped the week after, but Judy, that's the day we're in the office.
Okay.
I'm just trying to see. Yeah, maybe a little shorter because
yeah.
I don't know if you need to.
No, I think that we should.
Okay, great.
And
everybody did a good job. But thank you.
Do you know what the next topic is? Do we remember what that was?
I can't remember.
That's actually Brian and I. That's the one on race and mobility and redlining.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
And I just want to say thank you, Stephanie, for putting that on the.
Oh,
you did special shout out for that. You did a hell of a job. Because
I realized I needed to unmute myself to get the sound on the video, so that was meh. So not too many major glitches, at least.
I don't want to speak for Judy. I don't want to speak for Judy, but I didn't know what the hell I was doing on that. So
on the left part?
I mean, meaning the whole. I mean how Stephanie kind of pieced everything together on the.
Oh my God, you did such a great job. It's beyond.
Judy and I were thanking her yesterday profusely, like, thank you, Stephanie.
Making us
problem.
look right.
Happy to help with the next one as well, if you need it.
We appreciate it. We totally appreciate it. Believe me.
Yeah, no problem.
Did we lose Ty? Ty, are you gone? She's okay.
I see her, but she's got
She
like a
was
little.
out there, but I don't know. She's still there.
I see her face on her profile there.
Muted, yeah.
But it's maybe she's just kind of holding. She's probably somewhere else.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so we'll see you Thursday.
Okay.
All right.
Great job.
Oh, one last thing. Are you guys going to look at that thing this Wednesday? I think it's
I am. I have it in my calendar.
Okay.
So
because I really think we should look at them and see,
We have a clubhouse thing. If anybody needs a clubhouse membership, I think we can give each other them.
Yeah, I'm not on it. I think I have a meeting on. I can't remember what time it is here.
What time is it? I'll put it in
I
the
think
calendar.
It's 6:30.
It was what?
Ty, did you get that? Wait a minute.
Oh, it's in here, 6 p.m.
6 p.m. PST?
Yes.
I believe so.
Yeah.
No, it's 8. I might can do that. That's the end of the day here. Because I think I'm out on Wednesday during the day.
Okay.
But
Cool.
I'll get the clubhouse info from you guys.
Okay.
That'll be
I
good.
think that it
Yeah,
would
I have it actually, I'm pretty sure it's 6:30.
I think it's 6:30.
Yeah.
30 EST.
All right, and I also, I'm going to collect that information, those little snippets of percentages. I think that that is really helpful too, so that we can see that and also have that as information.
Okay.
Okay. All right, great. Thank you.
All right, great job, guys.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.